Okay, man who is speaking this. Mr.
It's
Boye.
not on my Google Drive. Is it on my Google Drive? It's not.
Okay, yeah. Just depends.
It's on the desktop.
Hi, Mr.
Okay, I'll give it to the person.
Hi, Mr. Steven. Oh, I didn't know you were the one speaking. This is actually something we communicated. Yeah, yes. Yeah, so I had sent you some. Okay, yeah. Oh, yes. Also. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you very much. 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes.
It's not playing. It's so long. Just let me try and set.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Let's start. Please. Not to share the short one.
What's the name of the webinar?
Good afternoon, everyone. We start at 1 p.m. So we're waiting for our panelists and other attendees to join. Thank you, Chima, for joining us today. Mr. Dyer.
Good morning, good afternoon, Jessica. How are you?
Welcome, sir. We're starting the webinar soon.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Starting today's webinar. Welcome to another comprehensive continuous professional learning, because we have tagged this webinar series to launch our webinar series. Hello, Mr. Dayo.
Hello, I can hear you now. I wasn't hearing you before. Hi, Jessica.
Okay, so I think it's the network. So, hi everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of the ESC Practical Lawyer webinar series. My name is Jessica Ikiledu. I'm the moderator for today's webinar, as professional learning courses and training across various areas. We have tagged this webinar series to launch our webinar series that's slated to load at 1 p.m. during launch day today. After everything, we're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. And today's topic is crisis leadership, business agility in time. About leadership with crisis management, strategies that can be time of crisis, relationship between crisis management and organizational agility. If you have any question while the webinar is going on, please do type on the Q&A or raise your hand, and in due time it will be answered. It is with great delight that I introduce our partner at Farmville. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you, Jessica.
We also have Mr. Alex Adebite, the managing partner at DOA, and he'll be joining us shortly. Mr. Dara is supposed to be the second speaker, but Mr. Alex is not around.
That's fine. That's fine. So if you can please share my slides. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can
So I
hear
said
your
you can
share
please.
right now. Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Hi, Jessica.
can you hear me?
I
Yeah,
can
I'm
hear
having
you.
a little bit to act for some minutes. Can you hear me? Okay, I
Yes, I
said I'm
can.
having a little bit. Okay, I'm having a little bit difficulty in sharing the slides. I'll do that shortly. Please give me
So can I go ahead?
minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, you can. You
Sorry?
can, sir.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this topic, crisis leadership, business agility in time of crisis. I will be taking this from the general perspective, broadly speaking, from the experiences of so many companies, CEOs, so many reports from various consulting companies, and even the World Economic Forum, where we know that global CEOs gather as well. I would also share some of their experiences, especially in a crisis situation, and how they managed to develop resilience within the organization and their teams. And we will look at law firm experiences because we have to narrow it down to our own industry as well, how law firms manage, cope, reinvent, reimagine, and at the end of the day, remain profitable during a crisis. Now, it boils down to leadership. Everything starts from the top in terms of how the affairs of the company is being run and how and the direction of the company. Essentially, the whole idea is always to make sure that the shareholders and stakeholders more so now, benefit from the leadership in terms of either profits, remuneration, and all of that. Crisis is inevitable, and it can occur in different forms. I will take some examples of a crisis situation to include global recessions, whenever oil prices rise, we have issues around oil. I'll also say war situations as well, and mistake as well. But most recently, if you look at the last 100 years, we will see that the major crisis that I think brought the whole world to a standstill has been COVID. We've had wars, we've had oil go up and down. It could be for a year, it could be for 6 months. We've had recessions, we've had all sorts, but it's always for a minute time. But since 1914, we have not had a public health situation that shuts down the entire world. And this, I feel, in this century, we can point to as the most challenging crisis situation that companies, businesses, everybody, leaders around the world, public servants, every single person was hit by this situation. The question is no longer whether an organization will face a crisis or not, because crisis is usually inevitable. As just like time, time changes, we experience positive, we experience negative situations. Crises are always inevitable. When we face one, what will be their response? What will be the response of leadership to crisis situations and approaches towards handling and reducing their effects? Like I said, I used COVID as an example. We could never have expected that it would significantly affect us in the manner it did for 2 years. And it's not as if we are even out of it yet. One can point to China and other China, for instance, where I think yesterday there were 5,000 cases reported. I'm also aware that in Europe as well, the numbers are still going up, despite the fact that most people are vaccinated. But we thank God and science as well that the vaccine, to an extent, is working. Now, the objectives, the aim and objectives of my presentation today is to understand what crisis leadership is, to learn the features of business agility, to learn the traits of a crisis leader and how to effectively manage a business during crisis and overcome it. Now, we look at leadership. A modern leader must have compassion for his team, must be humane, and must care about humanity. Using COVID as an example, we saw situations where leaders stepped forward and they had to, in some cases, take pay cuts so that they would not have to retrench or have to let go of employees. We have situations where CEOs of companies ensured that there were furloughs, especially in the legal industry abroad, not necessarily in Nigeria. We had a lot of furlough situation where people were placed in a furlough situation, and they had to come back when things were much better and the business was more profitable. Now, CEOs as well are not expected to put more stress on employees that are already undertaking a stressful situation. It was quite stressful for everybody. Everybody needed to reinvent. There were pay cuts just to keep everybody earning an amount. And CEOs had to reimagine. They had to reinvent. They had to build teams, crisis. They had to build a crisis command center most times. And they had to evolve their business. I was reading a McKinsey report, and they shared some examples around a company that was a ride company similar to Uber that realized that people during the COVID crisis were not keen to take conventional transportation methods. So their business went down. And one of the things the leaders did was that they did their research, which means data and analytics. A leader must focus a lot on data and analytics in this present age. You must look at the data. What is the data saying? And how are you able to ensure that you use the best of the data? You use the data to your advantage. So what they did was that they realized that, yes, so many people were not using their rides anymore, their apps anymore. But the research showed them that people in the tech industry were more keen to still take their rights. So one of the things they ensured they did, because continuously you must also think about the consumer and what will give the consumer comfort and what will give the consumer peace and ease. So part of the things they did was to make sure that they rejigged their strategy. They ensured that they continually communicated the safety mechanisms that they are developed to ensure that you come in, you are wearing your mask, it is a must. Your driver is making sure that he's not speaking with you. They did all of that, and they then reached out to most of the tech companies around, tried to get them to commit to a retainer with them. With that, this company was actually taking a 60% nosedive. Their revenue are taking a 60% nosedive. But based on that research and the data and analytics they had in play, they were able to regain another sector that hitherto they were not considering or looking at. Now there is COVID it has gone down, and we see a situation where the original customers are there now, and they still have the tech industry players who are on a retainer with them, and with that they were able to bounce back quite well and are even more profitable now than even before the crisis situation. One of the things that the leader there did as well was he ensured that their digital processes were refined. They ensured that they had a crisis command center where they were having calls. In the past, they used to have these calls with executive leadership calls, maybe once in 2 weeks, but they said it became 3 days. They continued to reimagine, they continued to reinvent, they commissioned research. They wanted to know where the next opportunity was. So in a crisis situation, there would always be opportunities. It gives room for leaders to reinvent and to bring out, to build, I would call it a crisis functional team. So you bring teams across different departments. It's not about this is what I do or this is not what I do. It is about realigning the goals of the organization and ensuring that a new strategy evolves from that. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. So go back, please. You can go back, please. So business agility is defined as organization's culture, the leadership and governance that adds value to all stakeholders who operate in uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environments. I'll take the oil and gas industry as well as an example. And I won't mention the name of the Nigerian oil and gas company, but I think it was sometime, the last global recession we had, that was 2008, between 2008 to 2009. This oil and gas company were able to get quite a number of marginal fields and some other fields. They paid billions of dollars to get those fields. And they were excited. They felt the good times are here, and we just need to, we will be making we will be producing 50,000 barrels a day. And one of the biggest mistakes they made then was not to hedge at the current value that oil was being sold per barrel. And at the end of the day, it did cost them a lot because oil was selling at $20-something, and it cost them a lot. But after they came out of that crisis, they had to retrench, they had to reorganize and restructure, and even sell off some departments of their business. But when they came out of that crisis, they learned from it and they ensured that they hedge their oil towards any form of downturn in the economy or any recession, and they still continue to do that. So business agility is just like gold. You only get when it pass through fire sometimes. Using the example I just mentioned, the test of how agile your business is, how it comes out of crisis, which could be regulatory, profit, employee, or an act of God, as we can link COVID to. Based on that experience, this same company when COVID happened, they were in a better situation because they had learned from their previous experience. So sometimes, as they say, experience usually is the best teacher, and leaders must ensure that not only do they learn from their own personal experience in developing agility and resilience and the business resilience, they must ensure that they compare notes, maybe with leaders in their industry, and read so many books on experience. There's nothing that is new. You must be knowledgeable. You must read from people's experience. People are magnanimous these days, and the materials are so many materials on the internet. You learn from people's experience. You learn from their mistakes, and you also pick positives from their strategies as well. Having a mentor in the industry or peer-to-peer review as well is always advantageous in most situations. For a legal industry, I would say have mentors within Nigeria, firms that you look up to, and even abroad as well. It could be that you like their websites, you like their style, you like their colors, you like the way they present themselves, you like their logo. there are things to learn from. Nobody has to start from scratch in terms of evolving their business. And essentially, when you are also familiar with these practices, it eventually helps build a agile business. And you are not reinventing the wheel, so to say. And the business begins to flourish, or in some situations rebound and become profitable continuously. Next slide, please. At the heart of business agility lies 5 elements that combine to make the business truly agile: the leadership, the strategy, the governance. Governance, I will touch on ESG. When I look at all these 5 elements, it's people and it's culture. I think for those that may not be aware of what ESG means, environmental, social, and governance policies, it's become the new CSR. And I think I'm one of those that are very passionate about ESG and the role ESG is playing in ensuring that businesses are environmentally friendly. They care. The social then means that they care about their people. They ensure gender equality. They ensure that there's no discrimination. They ensure and they put the health and the safety of their people first, because it's all about the people. It's not necessarily about the profits and the shareholders as such. They are part of the stakeholders in making sure that a business is agile and resilient. And the culture of the organization as well. It still comes all under ESG. And I see ESG as being the new CSR now. And there's a situation where for companies that perhaps want to merge or want to raise funds, investors are very keen to know about the ESG culture of companies now. They would not put their money in a company that is not environmentally friendly, that doesn't believe in zero carbon emission, that is not perhaps running a paperless organization, and ensuring that we have a cleaner, friendlier environment. That is one of the key elements of building an agile and resilient business now as well. Next slide, please. Why agility? The future is unpredictable with the world and its technology changing even faster. It is creating greater uncertainty to our needs and requirements. Businesses that embrace agility are able to adapt faster. Urgency is now very key in terms of decision making at the leadership level. It shouldn't be centralized. Deliver regularly, testing the environment and remaining customer focused. Like the example I gave about the Chinese ride-hailing company, they were customer focused. They tried to conduct a research that determined the needs of the customers at that time as well. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Business agility is somewhat similar with business resilience, but resilience comes before. Sorry, can you go back? Can you please go back to the last slide?
Okay.
Business agility is somewhat similar with business resilience. Next one, please. Next one. You went 2 steps back. Yes, business agility is somewhat similar with business resilience, but resilience comes before agility. Resilience is basically having the skill, the will, and the ability to succeed, regardless of what is happening. Like we said, there will be unforeseen circumstances, there will be situations, there will be government policies that may shake up the business. But it's about knowing and having the skill and ability to lead through those tough times, and the resilience to know that you will come out profitable and successful. It is still being able to have the competitive advantage, still being able to make the profit, still being able to grow the organization despite any challenge or turbulence. It is more than just survival. It is striving despite what is going on. We saw what happened with Zoom as well. Situations where there was the COVID situation made everybody start to depend on technology more. We have the metaverse now. People are having meetings at the metaverse. In the health sector, we are having robotics now coming in to assist surgeons with training, with surgeries, and with surgeries where a surgeon may be sitting in India and there's a surgery going on in London, and he will be using a sort of tool. He will be controlled as if you are playing a game, and he will be conducting the surgery from where he is via using a robot. It's in the initial phase. Now it's happening now in the UK. So these situations present new opportunities for businesses. So you have to continually spend money on research, data, analytics. You have to have the resolve. You have to reimagine, and you have to reform as that's when due and necessary. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, so I was saying you should move to the next slide.
I think it's the internet. I don't know if it's the internet.
Okay, so a crisis leader is, in simple terms, is basically a leader facing a crisis and who must lead the people and organization out of that crisis. As a crisis leader, you must be equipped with excellent leadership traits. You must be able to respond to a crisis. As a crisis leader, there are two results that can happen because the stakes are massive. You either come out of it way better than when you went in, or you fail abysmally. There's no middle ground because we are talking about uncertain situations to move forward. Hard and soft skills needed by a crisis leader. Situational awareness. Next slide, please. Ability to manage multidisciplinary teams. Ability to stay calm and make decisions in a stressful environment. Also, listening. Listening is one of the very important skills that a crisis leader must have. The above skill can be nurtured through personal development. Like I said, you read books. There was a time I think I was watching a series on YouTube that was sometime last year on Henry Ford and all the people that shaped the economy of America in the 17th and 18th century. There were so many life lessons we learned. So watch documentaries on CEOs you respect, how they were involved in times of crisis, how they managed situations in time of crisis, how they even became more profitable during crisis and had spin-offs from the original business and the industry where they operate as well. You have to understand yourself, your weaknesses, your strengths, and how you react to it. This also goes with building a solid team around you, people that you can trust, and people that you can depend on their strengths. You also, a crisis leader must also be able to delegate. You can't be delegating and consulting as well. You must ensure that there are robust discussions on developments as they arise with your team. And at the end of the day, make decisions, evidence-based decisions, depend on data, depend on analytics, and more importantly, depend on your team. They also want the business to survive and to thrive. You need to, a crisis leader must depend on the team as well. Things to pay attention to as a crisis leader. You must understand the risk landscape. You must develop excellent frameworks as well. You must practice with information in a stressful environment. And there must be simulation of things that may likely cause crisis in the organization. And you must deploy the right strategy towards the actual crisis. Making good use of people, like I said, you must delegate, you must trust your people, you must give opportunities to members of your team. And you must see the big picture, paint that picture, set the principles, and have good situational awareness, which is going to allow you as a crisis leader to to thrive and make use of your superpower. I won't conclude with that because I made some points as well that I would want to refer to. The key actions that resilient leaders take whenever they are faced with challenges that are seen or unforeseen. Leaders must sustain a a crisis command center. They must ensure that they support talent and strategy. They must ensure business continuity. They must stay engaged with their customers. You have to always get these feedback mechanisms. You have to put a feedback mechanism in place to understand what you are doing right and what you are doing wrong as well. They must strengthen digital capabilities, and they must engage with business executives as well. Stakeholder capitalism is also very important. They must ensure that they engage relevant stakeholders, put the mission first. They must aim for speed over elegance. They must own the narrative at all times, and they must ensure that they keep their eyes on the long game, more importantly. In conclusion, next slide, please. In conclusion, change is constant and crisis is inevitable. These two things work hand in hand. As a crisis leader, you must be flexible and open to change. You must not be stuck in your ways. Everything is evolving. I imagine a situation where this kind of webinar series may be taking place in the metaverse. It's already happening. I have friends in different parts of the world that are already joining meetings in the metaverse. And we have to continually evolve. We can't stay behind. And leading in crisis is being in a hot seat. It's very, very important to stay positive throughout. As a leader inside that crisis lies the opportunity and time to shine, make it count. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dayo. Mr. Alex is still having difficulty joining, so I'll be taking the questions right now. Someone is asking, how does business agility relate to other new business? Let me start that.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Alex is still having difficulty in joining. I'll be taking this agility relates to other new business models.
Okay. Please, can you repeat the question?
Okay.
Yes.
How does business agility relate to the other new model, to other business models?
In my opinion, how business agility relates to other what? Sorry, can you come up?
To business models, to new business models.
Okay, to new business models. New business models.
Just type it and send it to you. Yes.
Okay, please do.
I've sent it, sir.
Yes, I've seen it. How does business agility relate to the other new business models? When you say other new business models, I think that's a bit ambiguous. Business models continue to evolve. Whether it's a new or old business, you must always be jig and be about that situational awareness to ensure that your business evolves, or when you see new opportunities or new line of business, you must ensure that you fall in line. And more importantly, you must follow the trends in any industry you operate. I think the trends, seeing ahead and ensuring that you follow the trends and you note the patterns as well. For any new business, you must commit to understanding your industry, understanding the challenges in your industry, knowing the top players in your industry, even not necessarily knowing their secrets, but you must have a business that you also intend to model yourself after. Model yourself after in the sense that you like the way they do their things, not necessarily copying them, but you must ensure that you are knowledgeable about the industry, and essentially building a new business model can either fail or succeed. So, which means that you must have done your research well. You must ensure that you build a solid team that you can depend on. Mistakes will be made along the way. It might be from issues around not employees leaving from time to time, or your strategy coming out or making losses. But if you believe at the end of the day that you are in it for the long run, you would always come up with a new strategy. You would always evolve, and you would always succeed and thrive when you ensure that you don't go in blind. You depend on mentors, you both within and outside, and you stick to whatever plan you have in place as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so on Chidima has a question. Given that the modern workplace has evolved into a remote and hybrid environment that relies heavily on technology to foster business development, play in enhancing business.
Jessica, I can't hear you very. I can't hear you very. I can't hear. Jessica, can you please type the question out again? I can't hear you very clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
I'll send it, sir.
Okay, I'll have a look at it. Given that the modern workplace has evolved into a remote and hybrid environment, that's technology now it's tremendous. Let's take it from even what we are doing now. We are having webinars. In the past, people would have had to gather. We have a situation where conferences are happening both in a hybrid manner, both remotely and limited physical gatherings. Most of us are now more inclined to taking meetings virtually. Businesses are automating their processes. Companies have automated their processes a lot. Everybody, even from the logistic arm to even telemedicine, to even legal softwares, to manufacturers, to even oil and gas industries, to medicine, to pharmaceuticals, the role of technology cannot be underemphasized. Like I said, when we look at all these industries, technology is taking the lead. It is driving. We are seeing new apps coming through, solving so many problems. And I don't expect this will stop. I expect that everybody is thinking about the next big app they can develop and profit from. Everybody's looking for solutions via technology now. Things are much easier with technology. And I imagine that, I don't like to call it a new normal. I imagine that our present normal would continue to evolve. We do not know what's coming next, as we have all seen with from COVID to a worse situation now. If not for technology, for instance, we saw what happened in Ukraine when there was no internet. And this Tesla man, I'm trying to remember his name now, was able to use one of the satellites to get internet into Ukraine as well. So it's all about technology, and that's his communication. And probably kept the balance of the war in a situation, it kept the balance of the war, not necessarily in favor of Russia, because they have not been able to overrun Ukraine presently. So even in war situations, we can see how technology is also in play as well. So I imagine that for hybrid work models, we will continue to depend on technology. WhatsApp groups are there. We are having meetings via Zoom and other e-platforms as well. Banks are not necessarily encouraging anybody to come in. You have your apps to transfer money, to do practically everything now. You get into your bank, you want your ATM in the past, it would take weeks, or you walk in and within a few minutes you're out. So I imagine that with even fintech now in play, traditional banking system will also disappear in a few years. We all see what is happening with this Stripe and other players in the fintech industry that have more valuation than even the traditional banks that have been around for multiple years. So whether we like it or not, we have to keep embracing technology. We have to keep learning about new technology, and we have to rely on technology in ensuring that our work runs smoothly. I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Yes, I thank you so much, sir. Okay, there's another question here. I'll send it to you through your chat, but I'll still read it out.
Okay.
Okay. You have sent it. It says COVID-19 is likely to follow the pattern of previous crises in that which we have losers and also winners, particularly those companies that demonstrated strategic agility. How can law firms identify new market opportunities?
Yeah. Jessica, thank you.
Agility?
Yes, I read the question, and it's a question I think I like. COVID-19, yes, there were winners. Yes. There were winners and there were losers. Absolutely. And how do you demonstrate strategic agility? One of the things I think as a law firm, I'll use our own experience that we were able to do before now, is that we try to maintain a very strong online presence. So we write a lot of articles. We were very active on LinkedIn. We subscribed to a lot of international publications, Monarch, ICLG. We wrote a lot. We had a lot of programs, and we did not we also tried to ensure that we use social media very well as well. So when these situations arise, we do a lot of employment for work. We saw that our online marketing efforts kept us going because we were getting emails from random people that probably read our articles, people that maybe attended one of our programs in the past as well. Essentially, we had the mindset of not just building a traditional law firm that does typically litigation. Our litigation practice is very vibrant, but we ensured at every point in time that we researched new areas of law. We tried to follow other leading law firms globally and even look in Nigeria as well to see how their strategy was evolving, where they were looking to, new practice areas, including data as well, which in my own opinion is a soft money practice area. We also looked at ESG now. For instance, I'll use ESG now. ESG is the next big thing. And I can only point to maybe one or two firms that are being very vibrant and active in this space. We have churned out quite a number of articles. We've had a webinar with ESQ on ESG trends in Africa. We've subscribed to international publications. We are embracing every opportunity to speak and put ourselves out in these practice areas. So once these are things I think law firms need to be aware of. take a visit to, just visit international law firm websites. Look at the diverse practice area. I was in the office yesterday and one of my colleagues was reading a book on medical negligence and in my mind, I sort of feel, and I told them, we had a conversation around the past, but I started reading the text on it. And I said, well, we can build a medical and pharmaceuticals practice group together. Interestingly, I think we both share a background where we have one of our parents being in the medical profession on both sides. And that I'm sure as well influences some of these decisions or the direction that you take. Whatever you are passionate about and you want to be the master of, how do you become a master and expert? Is by writing and speaking on subject matter areas. Nothing makes you more an expert. And making sure that you have a very strong online presence. Do you Google yourself every day? Do you Google your articles to see the trends? We subscribe to Mondak, and one of the things Mondak has done for us, or did for us a lot, is that whenever you type in a keyword relating to an article from anywhere you work, our article comes up. So it just goes without saying that any potential client that reads up on this area would definitely circle back to us to ask questions. From asking questions, you have meetings or conversations. Not everything necessarily leads to work, but it leads to opportunities. It could be a speaking opportunity. It could be an opportunity to even to submit a proposal. So law firms must think like business people. You don't wait for the potential clients to come and meet you where you are in your office. You must put yourself out in a meeting place, which is online, which is on the internet, where you go to and where your potential customers to go to every day. There is nobody, I think, any enlightened, educated Nigerian that is a potential client goes online every day. It is now like oxygen. So there is no way that you can run that. You have to have your email set up professionally. That's part of your digital obligations as a firm as well. And ensure that you have active LinkedIn and social media presence. I've been to so many places where I give them my card and they are like, oh, I think I've seen you on LinkedIn, or I follow your firm on LinkedIn, or there's a reference to an activity that you've done. So it helps in the sense that sometimes you are pitching for work and you want to walk into an organization. In walking into that organization, perhaps most times they would have come across your name, and it makes it easier for you to make your pitch, or for you to even get an invitation to make a pitch, to get business, or even to submit a request for proposals. I can't count how many emails that we get from time to time from people that we have never met, but it could be on the basis of, oh, I saw an article, or oh, you spoke somewhere, or I saw a video clip of you saying this on this topic. So that is how we've been able to use digital tools to drive our business. And one of the things we also do is that I for instance, I visit, so I would always point to Mondak. I make sure that I visit our Mondak platform every Monday. And the good thing about that platform is that it's heavily reliant on data and analytics. I'm able to see how many people read this particular article or that particular article, from where, their email address. And with that, I'm able to send them emails and ask that, oh, I saw that you read our article. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you have any interest? And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I have a conference call with a client tomorrow that I've never met. Read the article, I sent an email to, and he asked a few questions. Based on those questions, we are having a call to probably see how we can work together, whether there are opportunities for us to work together, whether there is an intersection between the clients that we manage and their own clients, and whether we can even connect our own clients together as well to do business. It's all about ensuring that you utilize all these mechanisms, these digital mechanisms that are in place. And essentially, when you have that, during COVID, we had that situation where we are getting the emails from time to time. Of course, as we know, courts were not functioning. At the end of the day, how could cases were being heard over Zoom as well after a while. And that has also come to stay. We see a situation where you have a client in London and courts are now permitted. I mean, there were new rules around that. Courts became more inclined to taking client testimony via these digital platforms that are in place. So essentially with every sector, I mean, you wanted to consult your doctor, you could do telemedicine, you could have your complaints registered and your health being taken care of by digital transforming, these digital platforms. So I think I've been able to share some of our own experiences in identifying new market opportunities, and we continue to do that. We can't, if you decide to just stick to the traditional ways, I'm sorry, you'll be left behind. So I hope some of these experiences are shared is going to be useful to the person that asked that question.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Okay, there's also another question. When prices have significant financial impact, how can you adapt your business model to reduce costs, both in the short and medium term? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Yes. So when crisis happens, how can you adapt your financial situation?
Yeah, how can you adapt business models to reduce costs, both in the short and medium term?
Absolutely. I mean, let's look at the challenges we're all having in Nigeria presently. Diesel cost is skyrocketing. Even during COVID and now, it's been challenging. So if diesel cost is rising, the cost of keeping the lights on in your office absolutely does rise. We can see that banks are even struggling now, and I hear some banks are saying, oh, 1 hour days. Some companies now that if that you'll be surprised are having shutdown periods where they put up their generators for 1 hour or two. As I'm speaking now, I'm taking this call from home and I'm running on my generator as well. So the challenges are there. But in doing that, one of the things that we have tried to do is to put the work from home situation in place. It's not as if that is the most convenient, in the sense that it is still expensive for our colleagues. They have to buy internet, and in some cases, perhaps even buy petrol as well if their laptops are not fully charged. So you have to make provision for this. But at the same time, I'm sure it saves them the transportation costs to the office. And it also saves them maybe what they would have tried to spend on food. And they are probably even more fresher in terms of the stress we all know we undertake to get to work. But the financial situation as a whole, when there are issues or challenges, I think it starts with leadership. Leadership must, as much as they may like money and profits and all of that, if the situation is there, you have to start with yourself. You have to take a pay cut. The last resort must always be retrenchment or declaring any form of redundancy. You must look internally at your obligations, your debt obligations in some cases, and even for your debt obligations, you restructure your debts. You ask for moratoriums, you ask for your credit facility to be extended. You ask for, in some cases, you can even ask for your interest to be reduced. So you engage your stakeholders, you streamline your processes. You ensure that some things that can wait, that are not so important in your business line is kept, you also review your contracts. For those that can work, you renegotiate some contracts as well. Everybody's feeling the pinch, but I don't want to shut down your business. I want you to still be profitable. I also want to benefit. So if I also want to benefit, please look at this pricing. What is the best thing you can do in this situation? You renegotiate all your contracts. You look at your processes all over again, and you ensure that you chase your debtors. Those that are owing as well, you try to chase them. Where they can't pay at once, you try to give them a payment plan so that you are keeping yourself afloat and liquid. So once that is in place, you make sure that salaries come first. In that situations, I know some people have to take pay cuts, but more importantly is the people. The stakeholders are very important. It's not necessarily about the people who must survive. You must ensure that everybody is getting what is due to them. There may be some things that will suffer. Things like maybe, we are unable to pay pension for now, but we will pay or we'll keep saving at that time. When we know that the business is on a good, enjoying a good stretch, then we would revisit that and probably pay all the arrears and all of that. But the main thing now is ensuring that the salaries remain as it is. We're able to pay salaries and we're able to keep our lights on.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I think our last question is very long, so I'll send it to you, but I'll see it down.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I've sent it.
Okay. Business are now embracing a new different models such as localization, production, workforce, and non-traditional collaborations across diverse communities, actually emerging and collaboration across the international landscape, which may result in formation of a monopoly. What are the pillars that small and medium-sized firms should be competitive? Yeah, so I think our legal market is too scattered in the sense that we have too many small firms. Like you said, just yesterday, I may have to look at my email, but I'm aware that there was a major international space, Clydes and Co. and BNS and BLM have agreed to a merger between the two firms in a transformational deal of about 700 million pounds. So I know Clyde and Co. very well. I'm not too sure I know BLM as well. I'll probably look into that. But we are seeing a situation where firms there, for business reasons best known to them, are embracing mergers. I see no reason why we have on the streets in Ikeja, I'll use Ikeja as an example, you probably see 9-10 law firms. So I think at the end of the day, we need to look in that direction of combinations, of collaborations as well. And I think expertise comes into play as well. What is your firm known for? What is my firm known for? If we are able to combine, then there is absolutely no way that we will not be a mid-sized firm, so to say, from being a small firm. So I think combinations of this nature and arrangements would always be in the best interest of smaller firms to be able to compete with big-sized firms, especially because that even in the big firms we are seeing that there are leadership changes, and I think this is the very best time for mid-sized firms and even small firms to combine and raise their profile to be able to compete for work, to be able to compete for clients, and to be able to compete for even talents as well.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful presentation. A very big apology that Mr. Alex could not join us today. So we're rounding up today's webinar. A very big thank you to you, sir, for joining us today. We appreciate. Thank you so much for sponsoring our webinar. A very big thank you to our sponsored LLP, Farmview, JLIs and Co, Bloomfield, JLIs and Co, DOA and Farmview for sponsoring our webinar today. And a very big thank you to our attendees, and also special thank you to Chidima for the questions you asked today. Thank you so much. We look forward to having you on our subsequent webinars. And if you want to watch our past webinars, you can watch on our YouTube channel, which is My ESQ Legal. And our next webinar will be on Thursday by 1 p.m. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Thank you to our attendees, and to have a nice day, sir. Bye-bye, sir.